Hey everybody, this is Professor Hatch, and I am here to talk about the race and privilege outline. So let's take a look at that assignment. This is the assignment on Canvas. The first thing is, if you have not yet done so, please take a look at the race and privilege prompt, which has all the information you need, plus a video just like this down at the bottom there that you can look at. Anyway, getting back to the outline itself, this is what a standard outline looks like for a five paragraph essay, I should say, which is an introduction, a conclusion, and 3 body paragraphs. So 5-paragraph essay, this is all of the required elements that you need for every paragraph in a 5-paragraph essay. You do not need to do all of these elements for the outline assignment. Everything that is in red and crossed out, you're not going to be doing for this assignment. You're just going to be doing the other stuff, which I clarified down here. And I'm not going to repeat because I just said it. Anyway, so let's look at what this outline looks like in Microsoft Word. And it looks just like this race and privilege outline. And so you've got your introduction, which you have 3 requirements for an introduction. You're introducing the topic, you're providing a little background information. In this case, and you don't have to do this for the outline, but I'm just going to cover this here. A little background information for this particular essay would be to introduce the text that you are going to be writing about. Vincent Ruggiero wrote the chapter, blah, 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 and James Baldwin wrote his essay, blah, 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 and then your thesis statement, which is honestly, you do have to do that part for this assignment. So let's give an example of what this thesis statement is. This is not the normal method I use for thesis statements, but it's going to work for this essay. So literally, off the top of my head, race and privilege are, and I'm going to use the language from my prompt, inextricably linked, and this can be seen by examining the written work of Vincent Ruggiero, James Baldwin, and by looking at my own personal experience. Yes, you are allowed to write in the first person for this essay. You are allowed to write in the first person for every essay in this class. I personally don't think there's anything non-academic about doing that. You will have other professors who disagree with me vehemently and passionately. And so for their essays in their class, you definitely want to write in the third person. Not an issue for this course. In any case, so there's like a good working thesis statement. Now, really what you have to do at this point is decide how you, like, how do you want to organize this essay? Well, what are the things you have to do? Looking at the prompt, actually, let's look at the prompt real quick. You must include a personal example from your own experience. You must incorporate evidence from the 2 texts, Ruggiero and Baldwin, blah, 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 blah. So looking at that, I'm going to close that again. We have to analyze some of the writing of Baldwin, Ruggiero, and then include some of our own personal experience. So I'm going to suggest doing like literally labeling what you're going to do with these paragraphs. So Baldwin for this first paragraph, for body paragraph 2, Ruggiero, and then for body paragraph 3, personal experience. Fantastic. So then I'm not going to make you watch me like fill out one of these, but what you are going to do at this point, now that you've decided you're going to do this, you're going to, start by, I guess, here, let me stop my screen share for 2 seconds. I want to look you in the eye, so to speak. You are going to try to find a way, and we'll talk about this a bit in class. You're gonna look for links between Baldwin's essay and Vincent Ruggiero's chapter, Who Are You? And so normally I really miss the days when we had 2-hour classes, but we don't. Probably you don't miss those at all, but I really do. We just don't have enough time in the classroom to talk about all the stuff that I would like to talk about. So that's why these videos exist. Here's what I think the main takeaway from Ruggiero's text is. How we see ourselves and the world we live in depends almost entirely on our proximity to ideas. And our proximity to ideas means like, where do we get the ideas? Where do we come into contact with ideas? You know, and like 100 years ago, it was what? It was like family, friends, community, church, I guess, school. All right. These days, it's all of those things, plus, you know, social media, mass communication, all over the internet and television, you know, satellite radio, I suppose. You get the idea. We have access to more ideas. We have access to ideas on a global scale that we never did before. So we can see how important all of these ideas and how much access we have to all these ideas. We can see how important it is in shaping our view of the world and in shaping our view of ourselves. Ruggiero claims in his text that where we live plays a huge role in how we see ourselves. And one of the examples he uses is, I don't know, different foods that are eaten in different countries. Like if you grew up in Africa, then whether you love eating grasshoppers or hate eating grasshoppers, you still have an idea in your head. You have a context for grasshoppers that is a culinary context. Like our context, for the most part, there's always people who've eaten them, but you know, chocolate covered grasshoppers, why? But anyway, by and large, Americans, the context we have for grasshoppers is that they are, I don't know, garden pests. Maybe they're creepy because they jump. I'm not saying I feel that way. I'm just saying, you know. But what we don't have, for the most part, most of us anyway, we don't have a culinary context for grasshoppers in our head. We don't think, ooh, yummy snack, or I hate eating them. That's what we think about onions, right? So where you live plays a strong role in how you see yourself and how you see the world around you. When we live plays a huge role. Slavery, we're going to be talking about systemic racism for 16 weeks. So slavery, we would all like to think that if we were alive and well during the Civil War, we would all be on the right side of history. We would all be abolitionists. We would all be opposed to slavery. Well, the truth of the matter is most people were not. When Martin Luther King Jr. was still alive and, you know, working as an activist for the civil rights movement, most of this country hated him. Now, I grew up in the 70s. I remember watching the I Have a Dream speech when I was a little kid at school. Martin Luther King, I was in kindergarten in 1974-75. Martin Luther King died, he was assassinated in 1968. So 7 years later, he had basically been deified and turned into a hero. I had no idea most of the country hated him when he was living. I didn't know that until literally 2015, I think. That's crazy to me that we hated him at one point in time. But the fact of the matter is, most of the country hated him. And now he is, of course, held up as a, you know, one of the greatest heroes our country has yet to produce. So when we live plays a wildly important role. And then the third takeaway from Ruggiero's text is that critical thought is not the default state of being. We are very susceptible to manipulation as individuals. So It's like going to the gym, right? If you want to have like massive biceps, I'm really glad that I can't show you my biceps right now. I guess I could, but I'm not gonna. Like, you got to go to the gym to get those biceps. Same thing. If you want to have a sharp critical mind, you have the capacity for it, but you have to be willing to use your critical mind in order to maintain that thing and have access to it and use it. And our default state of mind going through our day-to-day lives is just getting through the day. I've got 1,000 things I need to do tomorrow. I'm not going to have the capacity for thinking critically if someone comes up and challenges one of my worldviews or tells me that, I don't know, Donald Trump, in fact, is totally innocent of all the wrongdoing he was just indicted of 2 days ago. Anyway, so you get the idea. So how do we see these concepts that Ruggiero is talking about playing out in James Baldwin's essay? Well, just off the top of my head, one example I can think of is James Baldwin grows up in Harlem, right? And then as a young man, he moves across the river to New Jersey. I don't think it ever actually says which city he's living in New Jersey. Maybe it does. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But he moves across the river, like not that long, not that far a move. But just that small move, that small change in geographical location, after a year of living there, the kind of racism he's exposed to while living there is completely different from the racism he grew up with and understood in Harlem. And so the kind of racism, all of a sudden, he's not allowed to eat in certain restaurants. It drives him kind of crazy to the point where he has a kind of a psychotic break. I've been told by you psychology majors, he has a textbook anxiety attack before completely losing his shit and throwing a pitcher of water at a poor waitress, who may or may not have been a terrible person. We don't know. We don't have enough evidence from just his text to know what kind of person she was. He throws a pitcher of water at her. He admits to wanting to kill her. All right, he's a rational person, and then he moves to New Jersey, and a year later, he wants to kill this woman. So that is how where we live in the world can play a huge role in how we see ourselves and how we see the world around us. Make sense? Great. Let's go back to sharing my screen for this this document. Where's the damn? There it is. Okay, great. So looking at this, then we're gonna find a quote from Baldwin. We're gonna find a quote from Ruggiero. We're going to talk about it. Maybe in this example, I'm going to find a quote from Ruggiero. I'm just going to write this here. A quote that discusses where we live playing a role in how we see ourselves and the world. Right? So there's the quote. I'm not going to actually find the quote because this video has gone on long enough. So another quote for Baldwin would be after a year of living in New Jersey, Baldwin loses his shit and tries to kill a waitress. Obviously, you're not going to phrase it like that because this is an academic essay and you're not going to write the word shit. But this is not an essay. This is an outline for a shitty rough draft. So who cares? All right, and then all you need to do is talk about your own personal experience. If you've watched the video for the prompt for the race and privilege essay, I talk about what my own experience was. Okay, and so whatever your own experience is, but the thing that you have to remember for the quote, every body paragraph needs evidence or a quote of some kind, right? So your personal experience paragraph still needs a quote. So I'm just going to write this here. What quotes from either Ruggiero or Baldwin would support the point you're making when relating your own personal experience. I'm just going to leave that right there. All right. And then there, and the rest of this, I'll take you back over here to the page. You don't need analysis for any of the body paragraphs. You just don't need that. You don't need anything for the conclusion. And the only thing you need for the intro is the thesis statement. Okay. So you've got to fill out, at this point, I've come up with a hypothetical thesis statement. Pretend these are actual quotes. The next thing you need to do is write a topic sentence, provide a little context, and then come up with a transition going from this paragraph into the next one. I'll give you an example of a transition real quick. Baldwin's experience in a chain of mindset can be explained or is explained by Vincent Ruggiero in his chapter, Who Are You? There's a transition. I'm not going to do the other transition because I don't want to write this thing for you. But yeah, I am going to upload this outline to Cam. In fact, I'm just going to do it right now. What the hell? Let's go back over here and let's go over to files and let's go to essay and presentation templates and upload. And I want to go to desktop. And there it is, RMP outline. There it is, Ssci 3060 RMP outline. I just uploaded that for you. It is there in files for you to download and look at and alter and do whatever the hell you want. So once again, I'm going to stop my screen share. I feel like I've gone into enough explanation about the assigned reading and how to organize this essay. But if you have any questions at all whatsoever, 24/7, text me on Remind any time of day or night. My phone, Remind does not chirp on my phone. It ain't going to wake me up. I might be awake anyway because insomnia is a thing that seems to happen every blue moon. But if I am asleep, I will answer you when I wake up in the morning. But by all means, don't wait to ask me the question. I want you asking questions while you have them fresh in your head. That's important. Okay, this has gone on probably 20 minutes. I apologize, but I think it was necessary. I'm sure you agree. All right, I'll talk to you soon.